Hey, g'day guys. How's it going? Today I want to talk about pros and cons of moving to Perth. First, I'll start with my background. I came to Perth in November 2024. I would like to talk about pros first. Number one is the weather. Yeah, weather is a good one, and I like the weather in the summer. A little bit hot, yes, but summer and the spring and autumn, they are really, really good, very, very mild and also very comfortable. Summers could get very hot, the temperature can get up to 40 degree. The highest temperature that I recorded is 45 degree, right? So 40 degree is not uncommon in Perth, and in summer you can experience 35-degree days, very, very, very normal, and they are very perfect for you to get onto the beach, and to enjoy the beach and the breeze after work. That feels really, really good. So I do enjoy summer here. Beautiful beach in Perth. We have like a pristine beach, like Yanshe Beach. They are pretty far away from the city. And we also have city beaches, Scarborough Beach. They're really, really good, and they're close to the city. Mason's Pool, they're also pretty good. So yeah, we have a very long shore, and there are a wide selection of beaches that are being available. Depends on where you live. You can always find a very nice beach very close to your house. Doesn't matter you live in the north or south, so beaches are pretty much everywhere, good beaches, so I do enjoy summer, going to beach with my kids, and yeah, we're playing really, really fun, and we play sometimes after sunset, and so yeah, it's really, really good for kids and family, or yeah, just clear your mind, go to the beach, feel good, after a day's work. Yeah. Then spring and autumn, they're also very good. The weather are mild, not as hot as summer. So it's really perfect to go out jogging. I like jogging in those two seasons. Now, I'll just check my camera, see if I'm like, yeah, that looks better. So yeah, those two seasons I do enjoy going out jogging, so I don't sweat a lot. And you can also go to the beach, spring and autumn. The beach is still nice. It's like 25 to 30 degree, and sunny days. A lot of sunny days. That's what I like. The temperature is definitely milder and cooler. Um, but the sun is still there, so that's really, really good, and the other season is winter, winter, I'll leave it to the con side. Yeah, so the season is definitely in general very nice. At least you get 3 seasons after the fall, and I would say very, very enjoyable. Some people cannot tolerate the hot, in or high temperature, that sort of thing. That's another story. If you don't like hot, if you like a really, really cool area, don't bother to move here. So yeah, that's the weather. Definitely, I like the weather. It's I thoroughly enjoy the weather here. So yeah, and next I would say the infrastructure. Infrastructure in Perth is really, really good. I would say the highway is pretty decent. We drive most of the time on Mitchell Freeway and Kwinana Highway. I think those highways are pretty decent. Well designed, and not much of the traffic. Just avoiding traffic peak times, so you should be all right. So yeah, that's a highway is pretty good, and the urban drives are pretty good too. In general, they're pretty safe. And have traffic lights and roundabouts. It depends on what kind of area. And so yeah, in general, I would say the roading infrastructure is pretty good. And then it comes down to the stadium, museum, library. They got pretty much all of them. So yeah, I think those infrastructure are very to a high standard, and I do like the quality stuff. But yeah, it's just swimming pool is not very sufficient, not as many compared to New Zealand. So if that's where I came from. In New Zealand, pretty much everywhere you go, you have a swimming pool fitted with sauna and spa. But here it's hard to come by. Swimming pool, you pretty much a lot of them they are private, and and they are mostly designed for teaching young children to go to swim, right? And you are adult, you don't really feel very good to there to learn swimming. So yeah, the swimming pool is kind of limited. A lot of places they don't have swimming pool. Yeah, so a little bit of a downside, but in general, I would say the infrastructure is pretty good. Roading and public buildings and all that. Yeah, and park. Generally, playground. You can always find a playground pretty much in 5 minutes drive. Maximum. Where I live, we have like a wide selections of playgrounds for the kids. So yeah, in general, yeah, they're really, really good facilities. Especially the new development area. I think there is a pretty high standard for the new development. I think you need to have like open ground, green space, and then you have you need to provide a playground, basic playground. Some of the playground they're really, really good. Alkimos Vista, the new development in Alkimos, northern side. Yeah, they have like very, very good basketball court and a table tennis table. Yeah, so it's really, really and a playground right next to us for the kids, so I can play basketball and children can play in their own playground with their friends. So in general, I would say the facility is really good. When I come here, I would say, yeah, it's top notch. Definitely, the public facilities in the new development area, I would say number one. But the old area, I explored a little bit, in the city side, they have very old playground facilities. Some of them, they're very old. I think they need to have a revamp. So yeah, depends on where you live. Yeah, in general, you can find some kind of facilities for the playground and open space. But in general, in the city side, yeah, they're not as generous. So yeah, that's infrastructure. And the next one is job opportunities. Yeah, we have a lot of job opportunities in Perth. I think people move here. A lot of them they go to the mining side. Go to either southwest, or you can go to northern side, Pilbara, for the iron ore, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of mining jobs going on in WA, and is give the states a lot of job opportunities. People move from different places of the world coming to WA. In general, it's pretty easy to find a job here. So yeah, it's pretty good job market, and the iron ore industry, the mining in general, they pay pretty decent wage, especially you are side workers, right? Some of them they get paid $200,000, just for driving trucks and you know dumper truck, that sort of thing, or digger. So yeah, it's really really good money, on the mining side, But I haven't worked in the mining industry at all, so I can't comment. Some people complain, long hours, fly in fly out, and mental health issues, So I kind of heard people talking about it. Mental health is not good, when you work isolated, in the machinery. But yeah, in general, work still good, plenty of work, good pay in general, compared to some other place, pay in WA is pretty good, especially if you are from New Zealand or some like Southeast Asia countries, even from Europe, I think wage here, in general is pretty good, especially if you work like underskilled, job, because the minimum wage is so high. I think somewhere around $25, and yeah, any job you do, you get decent pay, So I would say the job market is good, and yeah, good pay, and 10 days of sick leave, 4 weeks of annual leave. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty decent work and life balance. I think this is pretty common practice in Australia and New Zealand. I think that's pretty much the same. In New Zealand, we used to have like 5 sick leaves, and they say, hey, we need to compare ourselves to Australia. They are having 10 days, and we need to have 10 days too. So I think they started like 10 sick leaves from 2022 something, 2021. I can't remember, but yeah, we are on the same pace now. So yeah, number 4, I would say the housing, it's pretty good. The housing is pretty good quality, I would say, double brick, most of the houses are well designed, and a lot of houses, they're built by those like builders have many years of experience. So yeah, so it's pretty good. In general, they're well designed and not much of a huge issue. Because of the built with brick, so they don't have moldy issues. Like framing. If you have like leaky housing, and then you have like rotten timbers and all that. So we don't really have this kind of issues here in general. But we do have termites. Termites and like old cooktops, ovens, and all that. So like shower, baths, these fixtures. So the old houses have this kind of issue, but any old houses have this kind of issue anyway. So for the new house, a newer house within the last 10 years in general, they're really good, well designed, have a little bit of a backyard for most of the houses. And yeah, so it's pretty, in general, it's well designed. The downside is the housing price, which I'll cover this in the con side. So I would say it's very comfortable to stay the buildings in WA, and in general you don't need to worry about the damages to the framing or leaking and all that. So in general it's fine, and I found the accommodation here in general is pretty comfy, and so yeah, that's the safety. Yeah, is also a factor, to your living status, right? Safety is very important. I found our surroundings are pretty safe, and there's not much huge of a crimes, where we live, in a new suburb. So it's really not much of a crime going on in the new suburb, but I know, in the older suburbs, and yeah, they might have a bit of issue. So yeah, it really comes down to where you live. I think this applies to everywhere in the world. It really comes down to where you live. Which part, which city, which suburb, right? So which street. So it really comes down to your own personal circumstances. Now we'll come to cons. Wow, this is a big part. So. The cons, the first one is the winter, being cold and raining. So yeah, that's a big part. I thoroughly enjoyed summer, spring and autumn here, but winter is a little bit of problematic for me because it's been raining and windy, and the daytime is very short, right? And the sun is not out that much. So yeah, I missed out a lot of the exposure to the vitamin D in winter. So yeah, some people that take time, to overseas. We're very close to Bali, so um, a lot of people take time off, in July and August, those winter seasons to Southeast Asia, which is very close, Yeah, I'm going to Thailand in August this year. So next month, I'm going to go there with the whole family. So yeah, it's kind of like a getaway for us, I'm not a big fan of winter. I used to stay in Wellington in New Zealand, and yeah, the winter is just been not very pleasant, and it's very long, windy, and raining. Yes, yeah, Perth is better than Wellington for sure. Still 3 months of the winter, yeah, yeah, you just have to get over it. It's just to yeah, if you have money, save it up. Going out for holiday is good, but yeah, in general, it's not as pleasant. That's my personal opinion. And some people may like winter. Yeah, that might not be a problem for them. Now we'll go to the second one is a housing price. That's yeah, I've been talking about this in my channel about housing price in Perth, and I think this is going to be a huge issue for the next 5 to 10 years. I know the Perth have a lot of good job opportunities here, and we got a submarine, we got mining boom, we got everything going on, solar farm, that sort of thing. So yeah, we have a lot of job, but the thing is, the housing price is very, very high, and I don't know how this gonna pan out in the end. If we keep going like this, like let's say the housing price remains the same, like which is $1 million now, this is still very expensive, right? We're gonna know most of the people that make $100,000, on average, right? I'm talking about average of Australian, can make this much money. And we have huge tax burden here. We have huge income tax, right? After $100,000, I don't know how much we get. I don't know, 70,000, something like that. So yeah, and then you have very high expenses on your groceries and your car expenses, pretty much. And so yeah, the housing price, $1 million, is just at an unsustainable sort of level, right? And if the price go down, that's gonna cause a lot of issues to the construction industry. All the builders, contractors, subcontractors. We've seen this in New Zealand, which is not good, not very pretty. In the New Zealand, when the housing price fell, a lot of business gonna shut down the door. They're just not being profitable, and not enough sales, they have to let people go, and people lose jobs, lose confidence in economy, and more business gonna shut down. So yeah, it's just like a vicious cycle. So I don't want, Perth gonna take this path. If the price go down, I know it's not gonna be pretty. But if the price goes up, you know, at the end of the day, it's gonna come down. It won't go up forever. It won't go up to 1.5 to 2 million, 3 million. It won't go on like this forever because it's just not possible. It's not like one way sort of you know direction. When it's come to the point, it's gonna fall. We've seen this in China. We've seen this in New Zealand. We've seen this in Eastern Coast. We've seen this in the US. It's nothing new. So when the price comes to a point, it's gonna come down. So which point is it, right now or later on down the track? So the higher it goes, the uglier it's gonna become. So I'd rather, it's gonna come down now, a little bit, correct a little bit, rather than go to $1.5 million over averaging pricing, and then it crash to, by half or something like that. That's going to be very, very ugly. So yeah, that's a housing market. It's a huge problematic, and rental market same. We have very, very low vacancy rate, which is terrible. I think somewhere sitting around 1.2%, which is terrible. So yeah, rental market is awful, especially close to the city. There's a lot of competition going on. So yeah, people move to Perth, you're gonna think about your housing. I've never thought about a place you have such a bad situation in like this in Perth. I always think you have a good job, you can always find a place to live, right? Not in this case, not in Perth. I've seen this in Auckland, in New Zealand. Yeah, working family become homeless, right? So yeah, I don't know. So it's not a good sign for the housing. I hope it could get better. And the third one is bit isolation from any other place in Australia. So in WA we only have one big city. 1 million over a million population. That's Perth, and yeah, it's very far away from any eastern coast cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast, those popular places. If you want to see your families and friends, it's going to be a long way. It's even further than you travel to Bali. We fly to Bali is 3 hours. Fly to eastern coast is 4 hours, right? So yeah, it's very, very far from the rest of the Australia. Um, yeah, it's, if you have families in the eastern coast, if you want to see them or they want to come to see you, yeah, it's quite going to be a long flight. Yeah. So yeah, I would suggest you to think about the family issues. But if you are from like Europe, it doesn't really matter, right? It might be even closer, if you choose Perth. So yeah, Europe, it doesn't matter. Even China, Southeast Asia, India, Perth is pretty good option, because they actually closer. Some of my friends from Mauritius, South Africa. So Perth is very, very good for them because it's easy flight for them, and weather is very similar to the hot places like South Africa. So yeah, that's a downside for sure. I would say it's far from any other places. Some kind of like isolated. I do notice a lot of people actually just travel to Bali, or Thailand rather than going to Eastern Coast, and the flight is actually shorter and cheaper, you can buy a ticket from Perth to Bali for $160 for one-way ticket. So that's very, very affordable, really, So yeah, that's a bit of a location issue. Yeah. What's next? That's not making me happy. I would say, the pricing for everything in general. Pricing for groceries are very, very expensive here. I know a lot of the packaged food they are from Eastern Coast and made in Sydney, Melbourne, and then get shipped or trained here. So yeah, it's just everything is a bit of expensive, because of the freight. We do have like local wineries and local vegetables, that sort of thing, but not much, those in the industrial production, many they are in Eastern Coast, for example, packaged beer, yeah, mass manufactured beer, a lot of them are from Eastern Coast, and then they even bottled water. I couldn't even believe, why we can't just bottle water here. This bottled water, they are actually from Eastern Coast. This is, I don't know, just a bit of such a waste, Apparently we can bottle water here, right? It's a lot of natural spring, or just from the water reserve, that sort of thing, why we get water from, Eastern Coast, ship all over here. So yeah, my camera is gonna fall. Hold up. So yeah, I'll just put my camera tight. So yeah, as a pricing in general is very expensive for Perth, all those groceries, and you're driving a car, you buy a car, second hand, new car, they all more expensive than Eastern Coast. Yeah, I've heard people buy performance cars from Eastern Coast and get shipped over here, ended up being cheaper than buying from the dealers here. So I don't know why. I think just people want to make a bit of profit, for hustling, cars and all that. So yeah, in general, I found everything is more expensive in Perth, for sure. Anything cheaper in Perth? No. Unfortunately, no. Everything is expensive in Perth. Yeah, I think I can't find anything. I can't find anything actually cheap here. But yeah, it is what it is. We are living in a remote place, and yeah, we have to bear the cost of it. But yeah, that's the pros and cons of living in Perth. I'll talk about it again next time. I definitely have more things to cover for living in Perth. There are definitely a lot more to talk about. I'm gonna come back to it. And I'll find it's really, really fun to talk about it. I'll talk about more details about having fun in Perth. Yeah, about relationships with people, people on the train, behavior, antisocial, homeless. I'll cover all those topics in the next episodes for tonight. I think that's it. I'll say goodbye to you guys, and hit the subscribe button, and until next time, take care. Bye.